I'm Terry Garvey.
And I'm Derek Mooney, and this is
Read Right Now. This week we're coming to you from County Wicklow, and we're going to be dealing with two very important elements in the learning process: setting goals for learning
and how to stay motivated throughout your learning.
We'll be looking at how essential motivation is in getting you started and how important it is to stay motivated when the going gets tough and you feel like giving up.
We'll be considering why we set ourselves goals, and we'll be looking at the various strategies we can use to help us achieve them.
And as usual, we'll have plenty of tips, hints and practical advice along the way.
Now I'm going to head off to Ballykissangel, where I'll team up with Eddie Redmond of the Ramsfort Driving School, and he'll be teaching me how to learn to drive.
And I'm going to check out a local gym to see what motivates people to get fit and stay fit.
To get the most out of Read Right Now, you should get yourself a copy of the free Read Right Now workbook. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial 1-800 20 20 65. It's got worksheets and activities to practice, as well as lots more tips and advice. Adults tend to go back to learning because they need or want to learn something new. So they set themselves goals. They need an aim in sight to help keep them motivated all the way through. For example, say you want to learn to drive. Well, your ultimate goal is to get into the car and take off. But in order for you to do that, you need to go through a whole new learning process. Well, here comes Eddie now, and he's going to be my instructor, and he's going to help me through that process. In the meantime, I want you to think about these words: running, shoving, pushing, driving. They've got one thing in common. They're all action words or verbs.
Look at these words: jump, stretch, bend, run, fall. They all describe an action of some kind. These action words are called verbs, and you'll find that every sentence you read or write has a verb. For example, if you say, "Mary outside the door," you'll see that it doesn't make complete sense. But if you say, "Mary waits outside the door," the word waits is the verb because it tells us what Mary's doing. By adding a verb, the words make sense and become a sentence. The other thing to know about verbs is that they change according to when an action took place, whether it happened in the past, is happening in the present, or is going to happen sometime in the future. Look at the verb walk. If you say, "I walked to town yesterday," you'll see that the letters ed were added to walk. So when talking about actions that happened in the past, you add ed to the end of regular verbs. When you talk about an action that's happening in the present, "I am walking," or an action that's going to happen in the future, "I will be walking," you can see that you usually add ing to the end of the verb. The same is true for the verb play. "I'm playing football," or "I will be playing football." Here at the Aura Sports and Leisure Centre in Arklow, people are engaged in some pretty intensive training.
Keep your speed up.
It takes a lot of determination, skill and energy to stay focused to do this type of thing.
Just drop back to your elbows. Drop your intensity down.
You can be motivated to learn a new skill for a number of reasons. It may be to meet new people, to help in your work, or to gain knowledge for its own sake. Sometimes adults are motivated to improve their reading and writing skills, to help the children with their homework, to fill in forms, to write letters, or to send emails.
Bring it up another power.
No matter what your reason is, your motivation will be greatest if you feel that your learning is relevant to you. It has to be useful to learn it now.
Bring your intensity up 2 turns.
If you set yourself the goal of learning to drive, you might wonder how you could get to taking the car out on your own into the countryside from not being able to drive in the first place. Well, it's important to remember that goals are built on small steps. It's important to take one step at a time, and although the end result mightn't be so obvious at the beginning, eventually all the steps will come together. When you start off, you're enthusiastic, you're motivated, and you may be a little bit nervous. That's why it's important to have a very good instructor, someone like Eddie beside you, to help break down the task of learning to drive into small, achievable steps.
Motivation can come from within yourself. Maybe you have great interest in swimming and you want to pursue it, or it can come from outside yourself. Maybe somebody in the family is spurring you on to do something, or there's an incentive at work to do further learning to get promotion. So how do you stay motivated? Well, each time you learn, you build on previous learning. So the more you do, the easier it gets. And as long as you can see the benefits to you, you'll want to continue. If you do that and stick with it, you'll be swimming the length of the pool in no time. Michael Keogh hails from Limerick City. As a young boy, his love of the outdoors came before his studies, resulting in him leaving school early. He found the education system constricted him.
The love and freedom I got was at an early age with my parents being out and my friends as well, swimming and that. We lived very close to the countryside. It was only up the road for us in County Clare, so anytime I have a free time I'm out here, my sister's giving them a hand with the flowers and that. One of the reasons I didn't like being in school was that I loved being outdoors, and I felt I was being trapped in school. That's one of the reasons I didn't learn enough when I was there, you know. Well, I left school at 16. I say my writing skills were bad and my spellings were very bad. I wouldn't have any much problem with numbers and that. I kind of think I had that. But the other thing, I had very little when I left, you know. I went in at 16 to a local bakery and I started there as a bakery by hand, and then I served my time. And then I worked there till 89, till the bakery closed down, actually, redundancy. So I signed on in the social welfare. And in the meantime then I applied for some jobs, and I believe I didn't get one of the jobs because my writing was very bad. I didn't fill in enough information on the application forms and that. I felt very embarrassed about it because I've told people I applied for the job and it's terrible then. And I had experience like working for 20 odd years in the bakery and that, but that's not enough if not able to fill out the form. It was the first time I really had a problem with it. I knew like the job scene has changed in Ireland completely. Years ago you could get away with it, but not today. You definitely have to have some kind of a standard of education to get any kind of a job. When I realised that I needed the education over writing filling in the form, the application form, I knew I was in trouble. I needed to go back to school and get some kind of education. Within my local social welfare office here in Limerick, and I saw a poster for VTOS, the Voluntary Training Opportunity Scheme. So that's what I done. I applied. And now I'm 2 years there already at the moment.
When you set out to learn, it's a good idea to break things down into small stages that you can get to grips with. So if you want to get into shape and tone up, you might enroll in a gym and start exercising. You might also look at your diet and see what you need to change. These are all small steps that you can take to help you achieve the bigger goal.
Right, onto the weights.
Do something every day or every week which will bring you closer to your goal. Spend a specific amount of time every day on what it is you want to learn. Have a picture in your mind of your goal and think about how much closer you are to getting there. Treadmills allow you to measure the distance you've travelled as well as the speed you're going at. Like everything else, the way we measure distance has now changed from inches, feet, yards and miles to the metric system of metres and kilometres. 1 kilometre is made up of 1,000 metres, and kilometre is usually shortened to km, and metre shortened to the letter m. Many people like to estimate how long a journey will take, and to do this you need to measure both the distance and the time. Time is measured in hours, minutes and seconds, with 60 seconds in 1 minute and 60 minutes in 1 hour. So if you're driving at a constant speed of 40 kilometres per hour, This means it'll take you 1 hour to travel 40 kilometres. In half an hour, you'll have driven half that distance, or 20 kilometres. Time and speed are also used together to calculate how fast an athlete can run. The speed is measured by how far someone can run in the shortest amount of time. For instance, if one person runs 10 kilometres in 30 minutes, then he or she is faster than the person who runs the same distance in 40 minutes. You'll find lots more tips and activities in the new Read Write Now workbook. Just phone free on 1800 20 20 65 to get your copy.
A goal is a target we set ourselves. For instance, I might say that my goal is to climb Carntoul, the highest mountain in Ireland. But if I just leave it at that, I probably won't make the goal because life will flow on and it probably won't happen. What I have to do is to set smaller goals that take me some of the way along towards my bigger goal. For instance, I should get fit. How am I going to do that? Maybe I'll go swimming a couple of times a week. But when will I go? I need to set aside a time and make plans. Unless I get down to the nitty-gritty, the smaller goals, there's no way I'm going to achieve my bigger goal of climbing Carntoul. To be honest, it would be easy for me to lose motivation and give up. It's the same for learning. You see where you want to go, you see where you are now, you think of all the things you have to do to get there, and you give up. Or do you? No, you won't if you focus your mind on the goals that are nearly within your reach and not just on the big goals. Hey, I quite like the idea of getting fit, of missing lunch this Friday and going for a swim. Whatever you want to achieve, whatever your target, you can make getting the small goals along the way fun and get a sense of achievement in reaching them.